All right, so welcome to Never a Dull Moment. I'm Greg Blythe, and today we are just blowing it out of the water. We're doing something completely different, doing something for science, doing something because you, the people, demand it. We're trying to get you better at sharpening and get us better at sharpening. So what do we have going on? This is going to be crazy today. We have 3 Mortaka AS Gyutos. 2 of them are 210 millimeter. 1 of them is 250 millimeter. The reason that we have 3 pretty much identical knives, same blacksmith, same steel, is we are going to conduct a test to see which one's better. We're going to sharpen all 3 of these knives on the same 4 stones, doing a progression. We have a 400, a 1000, a 4000, and we have an 8000 grit stone. One of the knives, the very first knife, is going to go through all of the stones. We are not going to remove the burr until the very last second. It will get the final burr removal on a piece of gunny juice, 0.5 micron, and that is to take the edge off, and that is the edge that we get. The next one is we are going to do the same exact progression, but we are going to run the knife through a piece of cork, removing the metal that is on the edge, the burr, so to speak. And in the end, we're also going to finish it on the same gunny juice, 0.5 micron. And the last knife we're going to do is we are going to actually go through one stone, and then instead of cork, we're going to put it on leather. It's going to be Agenda Industry, just normal leather, nothing kangaroo, nothing like that. Agenda Industry leather. There's no diamond or anything on it for burr removal. We're going to remove the burr after each and every stone on the leather. In the end, one knife will be sharper than the rest. Same knife, same guy sharpening, same stones. Just a little trick in between. Let's get into it. So the knife that we're going to do right off the bat, let me make sure that we get this organized. The very first knife that we're going to do is my personal, one. I have always sharpened knives, not removing the burr in between. So I'm going to sharpen my knife on this 400 grit stone. And we're going to just go through this 90 watt professional stone. We're going to go through all of them, deburr at the last second, and that's what I get. So let's see how sharp we can get it. I will list all of the stones. I will put some words up on the screen to kind of help you guys keep track. This is a 400 grit stone, 90 watt professional, the Nucho Serra, you might call it. It is a true splash and go. I mean, that was boom, boom, boom. Prominent burr. Next, we're going to the Sahiro. This is the deburr. We will go ahead and take a towel and remove any particles from the edge of the knife so we don't carry over. So this Sahiro deburr, it's wider than normal. It is a splash and go, but I will tell you from personal use, you should soak it for 5 minutes so it's not sticky. Thus, Sahiro has won some whetstone wars. It's just a really good stone. Extra wide. This is a big knife. We will make sure that each stone is cleaned before the next knife goes on there so that they're not slowed down from the one before it. For those of you who are watching who are not knife sharpeners and learning, it shouldn't take you that long to sharpen the knife if you got a good knife. If you got a not great steel and you're getting frustrated, you should get frustrated because it's not great steel. You can definitely see that the Sahiro 1000 grit stone is loading up, which is why we will clean it for the next knife. And
you know, you were just talking about the, you know, not having great steel, but you got to have technique before you can figure out what the heck you're doing.
you got to have technique, but I tell you what, if you're trying to get technique and you're trying to get good technique on shitty steel, you're going to get really frustrated. So first of all, practice on some beater knives. Pay your dues. And I can tell you what, that load up definitely slowed down the cutting action. So again, if you're learning and you see that there is particles built into the stone, then they're not cutting.
And how did you take that off, Greg?
Okay, rust eraser, folks. So we have this little eraser-looking item. It is an abrasive hooked to glue. It's got a little flex to it. And by using that, we're able to push into the particles and remove them. We want the stone to do the cutting. And just what a difference cleaning the stone made. Okay, so let's again clean the edge. So we're over here on this, we need to adjust this. This is a 4000 grit stone by Morihei. It's got a little wobble to it. The Moriheis tend to make like no sound. They are hard, they are glassy, they are partly made with natural stones. Inside the synthetic, you are polishing the edge at this point. And if you see my fingers walking up and down the stone, normally, if I wasn't filming this, there'd be a little, maybe some music playing, something entertaining. You know, a 4000 is not going to be doing a lot of cutting. You know, just to talk about it, there's nothing wrong, obviously nothing wrong with removing the burr in between each. It's one of those things where, is it necessary? If it takes an extra second to do it and it's amazingly beneficial, absolutely you should do it. But if you really don't gain a lot from it and you have to take that extra time, especially if you're a professional knife sharpener, commercial level, it might be just a lot of time that you don't have. Okay, so we got to clean the edge. Again, we have not removed the burr with any other exterior device. So we're now on an 8000 grit stone. This is the Kitayama. It's by a company called Amanashi. This has natural stone in it as well. You can see that there is some load right in the middle. The load tends to happen on higher grit stones. They're very fine. This 8000 grit stone is the highest grit stone that you would use edge leading strokes, according to the company Knife Grinders. That is the science that they have found. They found that the edge is so thin that you're putting a little too much like undue stress. I can tell you already that it feels like the load up is stopping some of the cutting action of the 8K. So we are going to remove that. I'll tell you one of the arguments that knife grinders made against pulling through the cork, not necessarily going against putting it on leather every time, but against pulling it through the cork or pulling it through the wood. Their argument would be that on such a, like these longer knives, that when you initially put the heel end of the knife, like in the cork, whichever part you put in first, yes, you are going to start removing metal, but the metal is going to pile up in the cork. The rest of the edge will be pulled through the pile of metal. So there's a great argument, according to the tests they did with microscopes and everything like that, that you're actually starting to destroy the edge by using the cork or balsa wood method of pulling the edge through. Not to mention taking something like an edge that you've made it so refined and you're pulling it, you're cutting something initially. I mean, it seems like you're actually going to dull it. So, I am known for my edge leading strokes. I'm not changing my pattern. I'm doing the same thing on every knife. My edge is leading into the stone. I'm pressing the edge into the stone. The pressure is getting light. Okay. So the only stropping that this knife, my personal knife, is going to get, I say that like I own all these knives, but the other 3 knives were given as a sponsorship. So I'm making sure it's dry. And we have on this strop 0.5 micron. Why did I choose this? I normally would have probably used a leather that had 1 micron on it. This has already been refined down to an 8K. So I don't need it to jump to 1 micron. I'm going to go a little finer. So I am going to place this on top of here, just for a little brace. So I want to make sure I got contact the whole way. So the idea is that this leather being firm with its own little bit of abrasiveness to it, with diamonds, a 98% uniform size from Scott Gunn Gunny Juice. Those diamonds are adhering to the leather. They're the hardest substance in the world. They are cutting and removing any particles that are left over from all this other stuff. Okay? So since this is the only stropping that this is going to get, we're giving it its opportunity. We don't want to sell it short and then make it a loser on purpose. And then we're going to just sit this knife down, and it is ready to go. Okay, so we're going to do that all again. Okay. So the new step that we're doing, particles are coming off, so we don't carry the particles over. The knife is now clean of excess particles. We're going to just literally, I'm gonna let my wife get a close-up on this. I'm just sitting the knife on here. And you might see some metal on there. Okay.
Yeah, oh, I mean, I see a little string of stuff. I don't know what that is.
Okay. So,
It sounds.
okay. Thousands done. Removing any of the grit that might be on the outside of the knife. Here we go. Okay. So what's harder for me, here's the argument. By not removing it with the cork, I get a burr flipping back and forth and I feel it. You could say, well, you're just flipping it back and forth. You didn't create a new apex, and that's very true. But now that I don't have any metal flipping back and forth, do I really expect a 4,000 grit stone to create a burr? Do I have to like trust my instincts that I've done enough? So I feel like I have a micro burr on this knife. Just working on the heel a little bit more. So we have got the best tester out. We've got paper towels, we got a tomato, but we got the best tester out to get 2 marks per blade. And that's, you know, just to see if we got it sharper. It might be obvious, it might not, they all might be tied. And I'm prepared for that actually. Because all 3 knives were sharpened on the same 4 stones by the same guy with the same steel. So it could be just a 3-way tie and you can just pick your own technique. So, metal off. Cork. I'm trying to pick new spots so that way, you know, we're definitely getting like metal removed. You can see that the stone loaded up just as fast for every knife. I do not think of that as a defect in the stone, in case you guys are thinking it. I think that we have found on the 6,000s and 8,000s, no matter who we used, that the load up really starts to happen. Sahiro is one of all of them. I like that we shot this video. I like a little science for you guys. Okay, edge leading strokes. And I truly believe that edge leading strokes is one of the things that really makes your edge better. If you're not doing it, please look into it. We'll do a video on, we'll do one knife all edge trailing, another knife with edge leading, just to show you like the difference, because it really does make a difference. There is some burr removal happening, you know, right now. Okay, so we're gonna pull through the cork just to do it. And we're gonna go leather strop, same one, 0.5 micron gunny juice. Okay. So we are finishing knife number 2. Really light pressure. It's kind of aligning the edge as well to make that edge that's just so thin perfectly aligned. This is 0.5 micron, so it's like 96,000 grit. I mean, my wife can show you the edge on that is just stupid shiny. Right along the edge. Okay, one more.
Back to Green Brick of Joy.
So,
I know Green Brick of Joy.
Naniwa, same company. It's a Nana. So Naniwa, Naniwa 400 professional, called the Nutricera Splash and Go. Same company who makes the Green Brick of Joy.
I'm tired, y'all.
We have shot some videos today. That's why you might notice the same shirt. When we get the studio set up, we like to shoot a bunch of stuff for you. Okay, particles off, leather only. So I'm going to leave this right here. See if we can get that to not move. And this is not kangaroo skin, kangaroo tail. This is a Agenda Industries product, leather strop. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'll say that that was sponsored as well, because he was very nice to send us a batch of these products. I've had it for a while. I did a video. I'll put a link in the description of some of these products. Okay. So we did some burr removal there. I mean, we did a lot, actually. I mean, there should be like no burr. So let's clean this stone. $1,000 grit removal. We're over here on the leather, folks. We're on the 4K. I will say that the 4K really does not load up bad. This Morihei does really good. So in the time that this video has been shot, we did a little talking, 3 different knives, got sharpened on 4 different stones. So we definitely did a lot of work for this video, for science. We did it live for you. It is what it is. Again, hard to get a burr with the fact that the burr was already removed. So I feel like I'm having to do a little extra work to get a burr. Does that make sense? If you guys have not looked into the Morihei line, it's one of the lines early on when I started using them that I fell in love with. It has lost some whetstone wars against certain champions. It has won some whetstone wars. I think it's also great for polishing if you're into polishing. My complaint would be just making sure that there's a burr. I feel like I'm spending a little extra time.
On that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because the burrs were removed completely, you know, from the leather. So
it's kind of a guess, like you had said before.
yeah, like, I mean, because if you're polishing the edge, you don't necessarily need a burr.
Leather.
Yes, thank you. But you don't need a burr. You just need to polish the edge. So my wife was reminding me to make sure we go leather. I mean, this knife to me got the royal treatment. So let's see if all that work paid off. Okay. So for us, it's a very long day. It's late night. My wife has definitely had a day of days, but she Stuck it out for you. Mrs. Never a dull moment. Had no dull moments today, let me tell you.
It's not been a dull month.
Again, the load up was just as fast.
That's why I wanted to be close to that.
Again, very hard to feel like any type of burr. Not that maybe I should be. You know, I think it's what I'm used to because I'm used to flipping a burr back and forth as some type of telltale sign instead of thinking about like the edge being polished.
Well, because previously you were spending less time, I think.
Yeah, but was it that I was cutting anything, or was it that I was just flipping metal that was already hanging on the edge, which is the argument, right? That you didn't do anything, you just turned it over. Well, you know, now that there's no metal to flip over, if you actually try to make a burr, you have to make one, and making one on 8,000. And so I think they would say, Greg, you don't have to make one, you just need to polish the edge. And I agree, but then, you know, at what point does your experience tell you do X amount of strokes on one side and just know that you polished it? Okay, so we are going to clean the edge leading strokes. Everything's getting the same treatment. Okay, really light strokes right now. Letting it skate. We're going to go leather, then gunny juice. All right. So, finishing up our experiment. Same blacksmith, same knife, same steel, same guy sharpening, same 4 blades. Finished on 0.5 micron. Just deburring or not in different ways. We did some work, folks.
You did.
Yes.
I'm just trying not to throw it.
All right, so let's do our little hearing test. No deburring till the end. Some of the catches would be more technique of the person who did it. And you could say that you had more opportunities to get it when you were deburring in between. Paper towel. I mean, that was sharp. I mean, that was just stupid sharp.
Now, we've done this. We should have best tested it before we do that stuff.
Okay, so they'll all be done the same way. I mean, we'll do the paper and paper towel, and then we'll best test. My wife is correct that we would normally best test it first, but
I didn't think about it until just then.
so the point is like, do we even need the best tester? Like, will we just know?
I think we might just.
Okay, so this is garbage. So we got paper. So this got cork. So there's some equal, obviously. Okay, we'll go paper towel.
Yep. I mean, I'm surprised it did that well considering the paper,
I mean, they're all
to be honest.
just got leather every time. So a little bit of catches it there. So what the thing I'm going to point out as a user error is all of them are catching towards the heel. I would blame that on me.
It's been a minute.
I mean, that was quiet.
Yeah, but they're similar.
They're all similar, yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be accurate.
We don't, this is all of them got done on paper towel and paper. Oh, we got a tomato. Let's get a tomato over here. You want to get a tomato, Michelle? I mean, we already got it out. It's already going to waste.
Sure.
Let's do it. I'm getting it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting it, folks. I would tell you that in my own house, if I was sharpening the knives and I saw those glitches, I wouldn't go back on a stone of any kind. I'd go back on the 0.1 micron. This is me. I would go back with a little bit of pressure on the 1 micron, not 0.1, 1 micron leather, and that would clean all the edges up. So we're going to go first with a cut of the tomato with the one that was only deburred at the last second. And that was like nothing.
Yep. Just happened.
This one's been deburred on cork. What's funny is we just shot a video where all this was done with, you know, just stuff on 2000. And it's just funny to see the difference in an edge when it's finished on 8000 and everything. We're going to pause for 2 seconds because these knives oxidize. My wife and I learned that in the last video. We're going to pause and clean these knives real quick and then come back and do the best tester.
You're back, folks.
Are we back, folks?
We are.
Okay, we're back. So
We rinsed them off.
So the best tester, I'm going to have to come around for this. So the first knife we're doing on the best tester, do we have it on there and tear? There's a light. Let's tear it. Okay, 2 scores per knife. Remember, for anybody watching, this is a tool. It's not the standard. We're going to be testing different parts of the knife. The knife could be dull in one place or the other. I'm going to stay away from the heel simply because the heel seem to have maybe some user error. And what I do is I let the knife fall. Let me make sure this is turned level. Tear. See how the knife is sitting there and not doing it? So I need to put my finger on the fulcrum. So we got a 129. Okay.
We just do that one more time on that?
Yes, but I just need to.
Okay.
And I would like to say that you could definitely spend more time stropping. So those are our averages. I'll tell you from what I felt from all the stuff I cut, I feel like the one that we did leather on in between is going to be the winner.
I mean, I would think.
I would think.
I think the cork is, no.
So we got 173 and 180 as far as the cork.
What do we know?
What's going to prove is that it doesn't matter. Okay. This wiggled a little bit, and so we're going to come back on that.
Almost the same.
Okay.
So,
There's no winner. Point blank. I would tell you from personal feeling everything, I feel like the little bit of extra effort of being on the leather in between might have been a little bit more. The score of the best comes out to which points on the blade that I use. I'm going to rule on the average. I do think, honestly, the cork did not help. If I had to take something out, the cork, you are taking the edge and you are cutting something. So you are, in essence, with cork. Maybe there's a different medium and you guys want to talk about, maybe balsa wood, something. I don't know.
or are there different types of cork?
But two things that make sense. Knife grinders pointing out that metal is gathering and you're pulling your knife through metal as it piles up. The other thing is you're cutting cork. So your edge is getting dull as it goes through something. I personally believe from what I felt over here that the leather, that's a lot of extra work for what I saw is no evidence that made it better. I am not declaring a winner from this. I think if you want to do all that in between, you can. I think that you saw without doing the extra, the scores and the results were even. I do think I need to work on sharpening the heel of these knives a little bit better. For some reason, I got a burr and there you go. I hope this was something for you to do your own experiments. For those who are doing the cork, drop it. See if you find the same results. Let us know in the comments. We appreciate you checking this out. We have more science coming up in the future. We've got a lot of great stuff popping up in my head, so I'm excited to share it with you. This was definitely not a dull moment. We love you guys. Thanks for your support. We're out.